reporting the real numbers.
The numbers are segmented and they are fictitious.
I started my career in 1997 in the United States Border Patrol. It was one of the most violent times in recent Border Patrol history. I made my bones and my reputation on that border. I believe what is happening on the border today is intentional.
We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them.
Our own government is facilitating the absolute destruction of the American immigration system, and I can prove it point by point. I'm unafraid to speak the truth. This is just data-driven and experience-driven.
Go back to what we're talking about with the FBI. I think you and I might have just a slight disagreement here on what Cash and Dan are doing. Cool. I understand the frustration of the base. Of course, you know that, I mean, this FBI is the one that I covered who was using battering rams against veterans who, with no criminal record, you know, destroying their homes, their lives, their families over a nonviolent protest at the Capitol on January 6th. So, and of course, the Whitmer case, which we'll talk about as well. But I think the depth of corruption there, and this is what I'm hearing from my sources, is far worse than anyone imagined. The new folks at the DOJ and the FBI. And all you have to do is look at James Comey's recent comments. That mindset has infected the 37,000 employee workforce of the FBI, every single field office, 56 field offices, of course, main headquarters. So it's not like new leadership, and I know you're not suggesting that, just magically goes in and then they become normal human beings.
So Julie, you and I are totally in agreement. We're totally in agreement. We're totally in agreement. So why not take, well, how about this? Here's an idea. Let's not ask for another $1 billion for new headquarters. Let's shut the headquarters down. Let's get rid of 37,000 people, and then we can hire back onesies, twosies of ones that are good to a new organization. Let's just get rid of it. Comey shows you what fascists they are. Comey's going on. He's on he's on Raggedy Ann show, Jen Psaki's show. That's got like no ratings now. Rachel Maddow's left. The thing's imploded. He's talking about. I mean, he's a complete police state fascist. And he's talking about going back and taking the FBI, and this is what is the problem. If they steal 2028, they're coming back, and we haven't taken the thing apart. I want to take it apart brick by brick and have a Carthaginian peace, salt the earth around it so it can never grow back, ma'am.
Well, I will tell you this. I mean, that's what Cash and Dan, I think, once believed and probably still do believe. But they would find huge resistance in Congress, Republicans in the House and Senate. We just saw this with Ed Martin, who's a few Republican senators successfully scuttling his nomination for D.C. U.S. Attorney. These cowards in Washington would fight and they're probably doing it behind the scenes, I would imagine, to dismantle and destroy the FBI, start from scratch, or at least preserve little parts of it to help with major crime threats.
I agree, but we got to hit them. It's from The Godfather. We got to hit them while we're strong. I agree 100%. They're going to block it. Let's take it on right now. And I will tell you, if you bring this to the forefront and have that battle that you and I want to have, and I think Cash and Dan want to have also, with the powers that be on the deep state and on Capitol Hill, the funding sources, President Trump's going to throw in with us.
Welcome to Truth with J.J. Carrell. I have a couple Bannon videos to play. But what Bannon's saying, which is so correct, if we do not take this down, the FBI piece by piece, and when Donald Trump's gone, and let's be honest, I know we're talking Vance and Marco Rubio, but even those men combined are not Donald Trump. They're just not. And if we don't win 2028, Steve Bannon knows exactly what's going to happen because it happened to him. And what is that? People like Steve Bannon are going to be arrested and thrown in jail. That's the world. Look, if Donald Trump didn't win over 120, 130 days ago, we would all be investigated. Who would be doing the investigation? Well, the 37,000 FBI agents. And what Steve Bannon is saying, and he says throughout this interview with Miss Kelly, is where were those FBI agents when these unconstitutional orders were being leveled and handed down? Because this is how it works. because I was in this position. You would be getting case files, and you would hand them down to your assistant or to your supervisory staff, and they would push them out to the agents. And no one through the chain of command, from the special agent in charge to the assistant ASAC to your supervisors to the journeyman agents, nobody put their hand up and said, we can't do this. Oh, I do know of 3 men that did this. One was Garrett O'Boyle, for the January 6th, said, no, wait, we can't do this. This is unconstitutional. Okay, you're fired. No, better yet, you're suspended. You're suspended as a whistleblower. A whistleblower under Whistleblower Protection Act was suspended with no pay, and then they didn't allow him to work. So he's just supposed to be in limbo for, I think it's going on 2-3 years now. Another one, Steve Friend. Steve Friend had the same thing happen to him, and he rose his hand and he said, yeah, we can't do this to an American citizen. Oh, really, Steve Friend? You're fired. Go look these men up. Outside of that, where are all the other FBI agents? All you had was a bunch of yes sirs. Okay, we'll go do that. We'll go carry this out. And then on top of that, now we find out they're rogue. James Comey should be in jail. Should be in jail. The FBI is corrupt to the core. What happened to Kash Patel turning the FBI into a museum? Do you know, my audience, and I'm sure my audience does because you're very intelligent, but I just want to put this out there. Do you know that every state has a Bureau of Investigation already? Do you know that the FBI was not supposed to be like an armed law enforcement apparatus? It was supposed to be intel gathering. I don't have a problem with taking the FBI and let's move it to Kansas City or Nevada or Utah, Oklahoma, and make it a clearinghouse for all the other Bureau of Investigation from the states. And it's a clearinghouse of information we share. I'm all for that. Let's take their badges. Let's take their guns. Let's strip them all of their authority and burn the FBI to the ground. Because we can talk about James Comey as the head of the Snake and McCabe and all that cabal of insanity. Yeah, I believe they need to go and they need to be put in jail. But you have thousands upon thousands and thousands of FBI agents that did nothing except carry out unconstitutional orders. The whole system, the whole agency is corrupted to the core. Dismantle it. What do we need? We need more Border Patrol agents. How about this? How about we take the FBI and turn them into a child rescue? Their sole focus is child pornography, child rescue, anti-child sex trafficking. We're losing up to 800,000 children a year. So I think those 37,000 agents could actually do some good. Why wouldn't we do that? I think that's a start. Here's another clip. And this is a great interview, Steve Bannon. I mean, he looks like a wild man. And I'm assuming he is somewhat of a wild man, and which I love, and that's the draw he has. But he makes a great point here. We have the greatest crime of the political century called the auto pen, and Joe Biden being mentally and physically incapacitated. So people were running our government off the books, which is unconstitutional and it's against the law. It's a crime. And no one's doing a damn thing about it. Watch Bannon talk about this.
The passion that people will have for this, I'll take that bet. I feel highly confident that we will find it. And guess what? In the process itself, so much else will come up. As you know, the process, look at Watergate. Every day things are going to happen, but you have to start the journey. Right now, we're sitting here, and Dan Bongino, I love Dan. He's fantastic, but I don't want to hear about the pipe bomb. Particularly don't insult me with the cocaine. I don't want to hear about the cocaine. That's something that's 50 down the list. I want to get to the biggest corruption in the history of the country, bigger than Watergate. Is what they did with Biden, to both steal the election, put him in office, do a fedsurrection on January 6th, and then hide the fact that he had dementia. It's the biggest scandal in the history of the nation, and it's right in front of us, and we have all the power to do it, and we're running around talking about Hunter Biden's cocaine in the White House. It's not relevant. It's a misdirection play, and we're not going to be fooled. Hey, we're in the business of not having the left do that. We're certainly not going to have the right do that on us, ma'am. It's got to raise up to the level of President Trump. Actually, we got a system that the special prosecutor can report to President Trump. Let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it for sure. And why haven't we got on with it? We had Ann Vandersteel on yesterday, and other people that I respect, and I respect her greatly, are all asking the same damn question. Steve Bannon's asking the same damn question that I ask every day. Where in the hell are the arrests? Where in the hell are the arrests? There hasn't been one. Joe Biden had full-on prostate cancer. So can you imagine the cocktails of either chemotherapy or radiation or massive amounts of medication on top of his dementia? And who was running? Well, we know who was running part of it. Her name was Jill Biden. She sat in his cabinet meeting in the end. What else did she have? Hunter Biden, a crack addict, was in the White House, privy, sitting in briefings. This man is an absolute subject for coercion and blackmail. Why was he allowed to have top secret access? Why was Anita Dunn signing the auto pen? Why is now that we're finding out Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, was now, we're learning, could be the main auto pen signer, a hardcore communist? Dear God, Steve Bannon's absolutely correct. Do I want to find out who brought the cocaine in? Yes, because I think all crimes matter. However, where's the prioritization? Where are the arrests? You get an indictment, you go after and you arrest them, and then you start squeezing these people, and then they will begin to sing. It's just what he was saying prior. It's the Watergate syndrome, if you will. You gather up the low level, the mid level, and maybe a couple high level, and you squeeze them. And guess what? All of these gutless people in Washington, D.C., and they're gutless. Trust me. They have no desire to go to jail. They have no desire to lose their 5-star restaurants and their lavish lifestyles that they've stolen from us. So they're going to squeal because they know each other. All the other people in Washington, D.C. are cowards. So they know that when I squeeze one, they're squealing. So why wouldn't I squeal? Why wouldn't I cut a deal with my $1,000 an hour attorney? Absolutely, I'm cutting a deal. And just like Donald Trump did with the tariffs, who wants to deal with me first gets the best deal. That's the same thing I would say with my special prosecutors and my U.S. attorneys. Who wants to speak first gets the best deal. And then the deal gets worse as it goes down because I don't need you. And I let every attorney know, hey, the attorney for the Clinton family, the attorney for the Bidens and the Obamas and Anita Dunn, hey, I just want you to know that we just arrested Hillary Clinton, and I offered her a deal. Hey, I just want you to know that Jill Biden was arrested, and I'm cutting her a deal. Who's going to speak first? Anita Dunn, ma'am, come here, you hardcore communist. You're going to jail for the rest of your life. Oh, you want a deal? Okay. Go ahead, start telling us what you know, and we'll talk about it. This is law enforcement 101. This is a average street cop knows to do this. So why isn't it being done? Why isn't it being done? Where are the arrests? The clock is ticking. Like I got a clock over here, ticking down to how much time I have left for an hour episode. The same clock's ticking for Donald Trump. And why Steve Bannon feels a little or seems a little frantic when he's talking about this is because he knows what it's like to go to jail, being a political foe. Do you think the Democrats, when they get power again, do you think they're not going to go 100 miles an hour in trying to eradicate us? They're learning from their mistakes right now. They're all in. We're not all in. I'll tell you that right now. We're not all in. We don't have the stomach. We do not have the stomach as Americans. Listen to this short clip on Bannon about taking the FBI down piece by piece, and he's right.
It cannot be saved. It cannot, Cash, they're talking about a hall of heroes over there. There are no heroes. Because even the guys that are the good guys, the FBI, nobody came forward because they didn't believe we would ever come back into power. And guess what? We're going to be in power a long time. We need to take the FBI apart, and we need to take it apart today.
We need to take it apart today. He's absolutely right. Why? We're not talking about there was a rogue section of the FBI that was dealing with civil rights, or they were dealing with narcos or human trafficking, and a lot of them got bought off. I can see that. We close that down. We punish them, put them in jail. We make sure safeguards are newly safeguards are put in place, or the old ones that were not in place or was not being utilized, we begin to utilize. I get all that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a tree. If you can take a whole tree, it's poisoned. It's not bearing fruit. There's no leaves on it. What are we doing? We're gonna build a moat around the tree now that costs $500 million, meaning a new FBI building, or are we going to start to systematically destroy it? Why are we not systematically destroying it? Don't tell me that we need it. Don't. We already have that replicated in 50 states. Do we need a clearinghouse? Yes, absolutely. But that's administrative. That clearinghouse has no ability to go out and get subpoenas and throw people in jail. Has no ability to go to January 6ers and bang down their doors, and they were not even there. We interviewed the Alpha Warrior. You go to my vault at worldviewtube.com/JJ. Go to the vault and watch that interview where the Alpha Warrior had the Minority Report movie played on him. He had tweets that the FBI deemed problematic in the future, and they kicked his door in, surrounded his house, and arrested him for potential damage tweets might do, where he was just retweeting about January 6th and about the abuses of our government. And they say, well, he has the potential to be a homegrown terrorist. A former Marine decorated, a former law enforcement decorated. Don't tell me the FBI is good. Where was one agent in that group of 10 to 15 that surround his house, raise his hand, looked at a supervisor and say, this is unconstitutional. You can't do this. We can't do this to this man. Not one. Why? Because let me give you a little dirty inside secret. In law enforcement, we like to broad stroke the military and law enforcement. All these guys are, put their lives on the line and they do their job. That is such utter BS. It's not true. The vast majority of law enforcement are just administrative paper pushers, get in their squad car, drive around, get coffee, and go home. They have no desire to do anything that's going to be dangerous. Zero. Same thing with military. There's only a percentage of them that are war fighters. So let's get off this fantasy, this Hollywood. And the vast majority of law enforcement are simple task assignment guys. Go do this, go do that, do this, get this case file done. That's all. No one's thinking constitutionally. No one's thinking, I'm not doing that. You can't get a warrant. Where's the warrant? You want me to kick that door in? I need a warrant. You need to go arrest it. Okay, for what? Well, he had some tweets. Excuse me? Yeah, he has some tweets. His name's Alpha Warrior. And he's a decorated veteran, a war fighter, and a decorated law enforcement officer. We believe his tweets will cause chaos in the future. We're arresting someone for tweets? Yep. I'm not doing that. There is a massive, and no one's going to talk about this, and I am. There is a massive problem inside the law enforcement community. Massive problem of unconstitutional acts of just doing what your supervisor says to do. And the people that are supervisors have no idea about the job they're doing. Damn, I can go through the whole Border Patrol and start to go through those morons, the 4 years under Joe Biden. I know those people. I know the people that were running the stations and the sectors. They're idiots. They're absolutely do anything that you have to do to get promoted. Oh, we have to sell out the country. We have to fly illegal aliens in. Oh, yes, sir, I'll make that program. Oh, I got to take all my agents off the border and just leave it wide open. Oh, absolutely, I'll do that. Can I get my next promotion? Literally, that's how it worked. That's how the border was wide open. Let me show you one last one of the priorities of the FBI that Steve Bannon talks about.
And look, I get I don't care about Hunter Biden's cocaine in the White House. The bomber, yes, I care about the bomber, but it shouldn't be top priority. And the rest of the stuff they're doing, it's all marginalia. We got to get to the heart of it. And the heart of it is guys like Comey are in prison. Brennan's in prison. And the apparatuses that created them, and they were there to suppress the American people, are gone forever.
Steve Bannon's right on point, as he mostly always is. There's a sense of urgency amongst Americans, and I don't feel that, or at least I don't see the manifestation of an urgency. I mean, I talked about this yesterday with Ann Vandersteel. I'm so tired of having high expectations on individuals that I deemed that they're righteous. And I understand if I got tapped to go in and say, hey, JG, you're going to go and lead the task force to go find these 500,000 children that were gone. Or you're going to be, I'm going to assign you Missouri and Kansas, and you're going to be in charge of the arrest and deportation of all the illegal aliens in those two states. I understand there is a lag time. I get that, right? So let's just take it that I got hired to go look for the kids. Well, I would have to assemble a team. I would have to have a U.S. attorney. I would have to begin to fly out to all the states, begin to deputize, cross-designate all law enforcement, and begin then go out and actually have meetings and contract with private child rescue organizations that are scattered across America and bring them into the fold. There would be a lag time. However, I would immediately demand results, meaning I want that first child found now. Then I want 100 found in 30 minutes. In the next month, I want 100,000. And then after the apparatus is in place and we're humming, I want to find all of those children within a year, all of them. And at the same time, I want these people arrested. And the moment that I begin to connect the dots of who within the HHS did this, what government, politician, or agency or employee was involved, I'm arresting them. And I'm going fast. I am going super fast. Where is that? I'm giving Kash Patel, I'm giving Bongino, I'm giving Pam Bondi that grace period. But I have to tell you, where are the arrests? I'm giving you a grace period. But within that grace period, there should be some arrest. Working your way up to the top, or arresting at the top and working your way down. And we see none of it. Let's talk about our sponsor today, Bella Grace. Shop bellagrace.com. Shop bellagrace.com/truth. You play the Logan, can you please play the commercial for Bella Grace, either Dr. Lucky or Abby, please?
Start your day with the glow that comes from within. Introducing Bella Grace Elixir, a beauty secret that nurtures your skin from the inside out. Packed with natural ingredients, Bella Grace helps collagen production, reduce fine lines, and restore your youthful glow. And the best part, Bella Grace is perfect for your busy life. Take it with you on the go wherever you go. Bella Grace Elixir, discover the secret to timeless beauty. To get your hands on this product, go to www.shopbellagrace.com/truth.
shopbellagrace.com/truth. I use the elixir. I use it every single day. It is a game changer. shopbellagrace.com/truth. The lying media, that's the next segment I have. And this goes hand in glove with what Bannon's saying, is they're just lying. They lie about everything. Everything on the media is an absolute lie. I challenge you to find something that is truthful in the mainstream media. I'm going to play a clip of Alex Jones, and he speaks the truth. And the question should be, when you're watching this with Alex Jones, is ask yourself, where would we be without platforms like Worldview Tube or Alex Jones channel? Where would we be without X now with Elon Musk? Man, we would be fighting an absolute uphill battle, and we would be losing every single day. Watch Alex Jones talk about the media, and it's perfect.
Well, it's Memorial Day 2025. President Trump's been in about 130 days. And as promised, he has lowered national gas prices more than $1 since he got in with simple policies. And that number is going to continue to go down. Eggs have gone down by over 50%. And the list goes on and on. Real inflation is going down. We're winning the trade war. All the major nations like India, the UK have signed on with us. America had been closed for business under the globalist system. Trump has taken the boot off our neck, but it will take time. That's why he said months ago, don't panic. We hold all the cards. The globalists have sold us out. That's changing now. RFK Jr. moving in to ban the COVID shot. It's already happened up to the age 65. They're removing the fluoride from the water. They're removing the poison dyes. And more is coming. The atrazine, the glyphosate. It's all about to get banned. This is a real revolution against the globalist and against the death cult. I'm so proud of the viewers and listeners of InfoWars. You have been at the forefront for decades, getting the truth out. You are the InfoWar. And so I want to thank all of you. I want to thank other populist, nationalist, grassroots organizations around the world and other leaders. But at the end of the day, you are the leaders, and you're the reason we're winning this fight. But we haven't won the war yet. So God bless you all. Please follow me right here on X at Real Alex Jones. We're still trying to shut down InfoWars. We're fighting harder than ever. So thanks for your support, and thanks for spreading the word, because you are the Paul Reveres. You are the answer to the globalist tyranny. You are the answer to the 1984 system, and you are the resistance. There it is. Just more proof of Trump delivering.
He's right. We are the resistance. Alex Jones has been speaking truth for decades. It seems like everyone's finally caught up to him. He's absolutely correct. Platforms like his and worldviewtube.com, we're speaking and spreading the truth. The new form of media is podcasting and platforms like this. That's it. Or you can continue to watch 60 Minutes, which took Kamala Harris, just for an example, took Kamala Harris's interview and edited it. They edited the interview to make her sound more coherent. 60 Minutes, that mocked Donald Trump about Russia collusion, mocked Donald Trump about Biden computer, mocked Donald Trump about the stolen election. 60 Minutes. Who is on 60 Minutes? Scott Pelley. Listen to this part of his speech that he gave at Wake Forest, demonizing Donald Trump, who in effect is us, the American people. Watch this.
But in this moment, this moment, this morning, our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. Universities are under attack. Freedom of speech is under attack. And insidious fear is reaching through our schools, our businesses, our homes, and into our private thoughts. The fear to speak in America. Power can rewrite history with grotesque, false narratives. They can make criminals heroes and heroes criminals. Power can change the definition of the words we use to describe reality. Diversity is now described as illegal. Equity is to be shunned. Inclusion is a dirty word. This is an old playbook, my friends. There's nothing new in this.
You're right. There is nothing new in this, you old, decrepit piece of trash. Could you imagine being a parent? You shelled out 75 to 100K a year to go to Wake Forest, and you have to listen to this jackass, this old pasty commie. I would lose my mind. I would be losing it sitting in that stands after I spent a good 400K for my son's education, which means I got boondoggled. They're Pravda. That man works for Pravda. He works for the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. Let's talk about what the media has been saying for the last 2 weeks. What's been the biggest thing that we've been hearing in the world is the genocide of white farmers, white people in South Africa. And the whole time, the racist left, and let me be very clear, the greatest racists in our nation are the left. They are the absolute biggest racists, maybe in decades. They hate white people, hate us. And I, in return, hate them with everything I have. They lied to us about the farmers dying. No. Those thousands and thousands and thousands of white crosses representing white farmers, that's a lie. They're not killing white people. Oh, they're not creating laws to take white people's land and their property. No, you're such a bigot, JJ. Pushing propaganda, really? Let's listen to this man talk about the massive problem facing white South Africans right now with all their laws. Watch this.
140 race-based laws in South Africa, all anti-white. And 8 days ago, Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, signed into law expropriation without compensation.
So this is, in essence, they're taking farms.
Well, they
right?
can.
Yeah.
So they haven't implemented it yet. It's been signed into law.
Yeah.
And it's not just farmland, it's property. They can take the watch off my arm and they barely need to justify it. I mean, I liken it to having a loaded gun in the bedroom with kids running around. At some point, somebody's going to pull the trigger. And that's what this law is. And there's so many other laws in South Africa that are anti-white, race-based, and make it almost impossible for businesses to thrive. Do you know that most African countries have Starlink? We don't, because we have a law that every business in South Africa has to have 30% black ownership. And Elon Musk said, I'm not handing over 30% because I have to. We don't have Starlink.
It's insane.
South Africa needs a big wake-up call, and it isn't going to come internally.
Remember when you heard that this was all a lie. No. That president of South Africa sat in the Oval Office or in a side office in the White House and looked President Trump in the eye and said, oh, no, we're not doing that. No, you've signed over 140 anti-white laws. So much so that a black man could just walk up and steal your watch, steal your clothes. And our media tells us, no, all the white people are bad in South Africa, and if there's no one being killed, and if they were killed, that'd be kind of justified. Why aren't white people talking about this? Because they're afraid, they're scared to death that'd be called a racist. I'm not. This is racism. If this was happened to blacks, I'd be like, why is this allowed to happen? I want this stopped. Why aren't we sanctioning that country? If whites were systematically beating the crap out of blacks in America, like groups, large groups were stomping black children and women and fathers on the street and beating them senseless, I would be screaming from my top of the mountain, screaming in the top of my lungs, stop! We can't allow this to happen. This is insanity. So why is it that blacks can now attack whites throughout the nation, curb stomp them, beat them senseless, rob their stores clean, and no one says a word? Even the whites don't say it because they're afraid. We've been conditioned to be impotent and silent as our cultures are destroyed. Black fatigue. It's been given a name. It's so bad, it's been given a name. And black influencers are all lining up too and saying, yeah, I have black fatigue as well. I wonder what it's like in South Africa. I wonder if those white farmers are having black fatigue. But our media says it's not happening, that this is all hyperbole. It's all a propaganda lie. Oh, really? I just stumbled across one of thousands of videos of a white farmer getting beat, getting hit over the head with the largest boulder I have seen since I got hit on the border by getting hit by rocks these size. Go ahead and play this, Logan. Logan, can you please go back to that video again and just stop it so we can, when he got hit in the head with that rock, that giant boulder, I want you to understand what this feels like to get hit. Yep, right there. Let's look at, do you see how big that piece of concrete block is right on his head? Right there. I know. He's just a white man. He's just a white devil, and he deserves to get his head caved in. It's okay. These are just poor, uneducated, or poor blacks in South Africa that are just tired of being suppressed, and their recourse is to cave a white devil's head in. And then our media tells us that this isn't happening. Scott Pelley is going to talk to us about righteousness and goodness. We have to hear ad nauseum from CNBC, MSNBC, Washington Post, everyone, all the politicians screaming at Marco Rubio that why would the president allow 59, that's one less than 60 white people into a country. We don't have room for 9 white people that speak English, have our Christian norms and values and beliefs, that look like us. We don't have room for them because we allowed 30 million people of color from our nation, into our nation, from 180 nations across the globe that do not speak English, do not share our religion, do not look like us, do not share our same cultural norms, our societal norms. 30 million. But we can't bring in 59 white South African farmers. Do you understand how much racism there is in America right now against white people? Are we going to have the courage to say it out loud? Or are we going to be talking hushed tones amongst ourselves? I'm not. What's the word? Let me tell you, just so if you're on the fence, let me give you a breakdown of what it's the worst case scenario. Because it's happened to me in front of Congress, in national TV, local TV, in my life. You're called a racist and a bigot and a xenophobe. Okay. What next? Well, there isn't anything next. That's all they have. Okay, well, I'm not a bigot and I'm not a racist. I'm not a xenophobe. So can we get on with our life? Yeah, you can. And here's the funny thing. About 1,000 to 1, meaning for every time you're called that by someone, 1,000 people reach out to you via social media or passing and just say, hey, man, thank you. I believe exactly what you're believing. Thank you for saying it out loud. I can't believe that you have the courage to say it out loud. That's the worst case scenario. Or as my TikTok just got banned, I lose TikTok. Okay, well, if that's the price that I have to pay for speaking the truth, all right, I'll lose TikTok. All right, I'll let Dalia Ramirez, who's an illegal alien from Guatemala, who's a congressman from Illinois, or the mentally retarded Congressman Ivey from Maryland mock me and call me vile names in front of a national audience. Okay, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. I look at those people and they're complete morons, so who cares? That's the worst case. Start speaking boldly. Start speaking with conviction and stop being afraid. Just stop. One way to be prepared is stop giving your money to the big box stores. Stop giving your money to organizations and companies that hate you, that take your money that you buy their products and then they turn into BLM, Planned Parenthood, defund the police, and then Democrats, and fund everything that is antithetical to your beliefs. Stop. Well, where do I go? Well, you go to patriotsmade.com. And there is a company that makes 450 products that you use all the time, but they're not made from the big box store companies. You're not going to get poison in your food. You're not going to get poison in your soaps and your shampoos and your lotions. You're not. It's American made in America by Americans for Americans, and it's green. It's natural. Go to patriotsmade.com/JJ. patriotsmade.com/JJ. And save money, get better products, and you stop giving your money to the organizations and companies that hate you. I think it's a win-win. patriotsmade.com/JJ. Now, I'm going to show you a video that gives me some hope. And this is in New York City, so this isn't somewhere I'd actually find a lot of hope. I don't like that city, to be honest with you. Ultra liberal. But this guy bumps into Anthony Weiner, a known pedophile. And listen to how this young man talks to this pedophile. And then I want you to listen to the chants the young men throw it at Weiner just walking by. They call him a pedophile. This is the example. Are we supposed to show, we're supposed to show civility to people that are pedophiles? Civility to people that are sexually perverse and do damage to our children? We're supposed to be civil to a man that is trying to ruin people's lives? A man that was married to a woman that was in charge of Hillary Clinton, the man that had a laptop that was so bad that long career investigators in NYPD were sickened by what they saw. Yep, that man. And this is how we deal with the people that hate us and want us dead. This is exactly how we deal with them. Play this, Logan.
Anthony Weiner in the house. How you doing, my guy? So, I mean, who are you carrying for? I'm carrying for a candidate, but hey,
Logan,
let's talk about all of those things you guys, you and the Clintons have done. Anthony Weiner in the house. How you doing, my guy? So,
okay.
I mean,
Who are you carrying for?
I'm carrying for a candidate, but hey,
What candidate?
let's talk about all of those things you guys, you and the
Walden.
Clintons have done
Walden
over the
you
years
working
with
for?
all of those people that died,
Jim Walden
those
for?
strange deaths.
Really?
Anthony Weiner,
let's
folks,
add
the
one
guy
more
who,
to the list.
the one,
Let's
the
add
guy
one
who's
more
been
to the list.
texting minors.
Let's add one more to the
Look
list.
at this guy.
Let's add this guy to the list.
This is Anthony
Jim
Weiner.
Walden, this is who's
It's al-
working for you.
It's almost time,
Jim
folks.
Walden, this is
It's
who's
almost
working for
time,
you.
folks.
Jim Walden.
It's almost time. Anthony Weiner, the pedophile.
What about you, pal?
Anthony Weiner.
What about you?
How about all of those?
Drop something?
How about all of those?
Who's it? Jim Walden.
How about all of those?
Jim Walden.
How about all of those
look, Jim
crazy
Walden,
deaths
look who
with the
working
Clinton
for you.
family
Jim
and those
Walden.
spirit cookings?
Yeah, add one more.
Yeah, how about all of that
Add one more.
adrenochrome? What's up with all that
Add
adrenochrome,
one
my
more,
guy?
pal.
You look like you got
You
some
wanna add one
adrenochrome
more?
behind.
You want to add one more?
Hey, look at Anthony Weiner, folks. Anthony Weiner. Hey, we about to find out about those Clinton files and all that stuff.
Who are you carrying for?
Who
Who are you afraid to say?
Let's go.
Can we get it?
don't tell me. I don't want to hear your drivel. This is a pedophile. This is a man that has done horrific things. Part of the Clinton machine. Why should he be able to walk his dog without being called a pedophile? Why? I think that's fair game. We should make it impossible for them to live in our society. Impossible. I'm not talking about someone that has different views than us or somebody that has a different policy. No, we're not going to do that. But people that are disgusting pedophiles that have used and abused their power, yes, they need to be ostracized. In fact, we used to do this. This is what America used to be. If you were a man that wore a dress, you were in the fringes of society. You were not in the mainstream. You were not in our churches. If you were a pedophile, like that sick pervert is, well, he would not be able to walk his dog in New York City. He needs to go somewhere far corners of the earth and hide because we don't want you in our society. We're either going to fight to win this war, or we're going to put a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound and act as if it's all going to be okay, knowing that it's not. That's your choices. I found this guy, I just came across this video, and I want to play it because this guy makes a very couple good points. I don't agree with everything he says, but very good points about the MAGA movement. Because I was listening to him, and he was kind of describing me to a little bit. I didn't vote for Donald Trump because of the R. I vote for Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump in spite of the R. I voted for MAGA. And I know the Republican Party is as dead as the Democrat Party is. There is a new movement, and it is taking over America on both sides. Go ahead and play this, please.
Who else agrees with what this guy says about the MAGA movement?
MAGA isn't Republican and it isn't Democrat. It is a movement. It is an awakening. It is people that were left behind, sick and tired of well, being taken advantage of and being extracted. And a lot of people during 2016 through 2021, and then with COVID, and then this election, there's a mix of people that were just fed up with everything that the government was doing because the government lets us down. We hired these people to do stuff for us, to serve us, and they just got richer and richer, from NGOs to government circling back money. This is why there's a MAGA movement. I know the people on the left, you guys hate the MAGA movement. You hate it. You hate it, and you ask someone why, and all they say is you're racist. And it's not, because you obviously have never ever actually been to a rally then, because my wife, being an immigrant, saw every different race, every different gender, gays, lesbians, moms for Trump, and all this kind of stuff. It's a massive awakening moment for Democrats and Republicans that were in that middle that were forgotten about. And then there's this too far left radicalism, which is the current Democrat Party. And then you got this extreme right, I guess. But I don't believe that MAGA is right, really. I think they're more libertarian, and they are just sick and tired of government altogether.
We are sick of the government. We're not libertarian. We're constitutionalist. We believe in the rule of law. Libertarians kind of want to live and let live. We see what live and let live has done. And I used to believe in some of that. Well, you want to be gay? That's fine. Do whatever you want. Just don't bother us. I don't bother anybody with me and heterosexual. I don't walk around with a shirt saying I like to have sex with women. I mean, that's weird. Well, why do I need a shirt that says that you like to have sex with men and you're a man, or I like to have sex with women because I'm a woman? I mean, why do I need to know that? Why does that have any place in civil society? It doesn't. But we played this game of, we'll just as long as it doesn't bother me or hurt me. Well, it eventually does. Now we have LGBTQ with hieroglyphics in our own alphabet and a bunch of, signs that we don't know what they are because they've taken over everything. We've changed our whole entire societal norms and our cultural beliefs for less than 2% of the population. Unbelievable. I'm going to play this. This is one of the biggest things that Donald Trump is doing, and it may not seem that big right now, but it's going to be gigantic. And that is his basically defunding of Harvard University and schools like that, stopping now all visas. I think it's 1/3 of the Harvard population is foreign nationals, meaning we are giving billions of dollars. Why are we giving billions of dollars a year to Harvard? Why are we giving billions of dollars to any universities? But we're giving billions of dollars to Harvard so they could train and educate foreign nationals that hate us and that can protest in our streets and cause chaos and disruption. We're done. Watch this. I even pulled this from CNN, disgusting CNN and Wolf Blitzard, who's about 8,000 years old. And listen to this woman complain, but what she's complaining about is everything we love. We live in two different societies. Watch this.
The Trump administration canceling all these remaining government contracts with Harvard, $100 million worth.
Yeah, it's a lot of money there, and those are the remaining federal grants. So essentially what we know is that the administration is expected at any moment, as soon as this afternoon, to send a letter to federal agencies telling them to cancel all of their existing federal contracts with Harvard. But it actually goes further than that. It tells them to not consider Harvard, but consider other options in the future instead of Harvard, which would effectively kill the entire grant program with the federal government. Now, I want to read you part of the letter that CNN obtained. This is what's expected to go out. It says, "We recommend that your agency terminate for convenience each contract that it determines has failed to meet its standards and transition to a new vendor." It says, "Going forward, we also encourage your agency to seek alternative vendors for future services where you had previously considered Harvard." Agencies have time, but just until June 6th to respond with what cancellations they have actually done. And remember, Wolf, as you guys have just noted, this is just the latest in an ongoing escalation. I want to take a look at what we have seen from the White House, from the administration when it comes to Harvard, really for the last month here. Starting back in April 14th, they froze $2.2 billion in grants. April 15th, they threatened Harvard's tax-exempt status. April 17th, they demanded international student records. May 13th, they froze another another $450 million in funding. May 22nd, they moved to bar international students. May 26th, they considered redirecting $3 billion from Harvard to trade schools. And then, of course, May 27th, we're here where we are expecting this White House to send this letter, the GSA, General Services Administration, to send this letter to federal agencies to cut those remaining federal contracts. So clearly an escalation here. Of course, as we know, Wolf, the administration has accused Harvard of having liberal bias, of allowing anti-Semitic behavior on campuses, among other things.
What on that list are you angry about? That's exactly what I voted for. I voted for all of that. All of it. And I want all the Ivy League schools defunded. You defunded the police, we're going to defund you. Why? Why are we working our ass off to send money to the elites? Can you explain that to me? This is how corrupt our government is. This is how off-center we are. This is how much the depth of the treason. It's out of control. It's absolutely out of control. Again, I talk about Donald Trump. He is a master, an absolute master. But my God, look at what he has have to confront. We need to be prepared. And I'm going to talk about this just for a minute as the show's closing out, is our partner sat123.com. sat123.com. And we're seeing power outages now across America. And with power outages, the cell towers go down. You need to be prepared. I have sat phones in my cars for my wife and then one for my son when he's going to start to drive. Why? Because I don't want to be in a movie where I'm frantically trying to find my loved ones and get connected as there's chaos. And if you think there's not going to be chaos, you're a fool. Or my wife or son gets stranded because the car breaks down and there's no cell coverage. Anything. Come up with a scenario. I don't want to be unprepared. That's why I go to sat123.com/JJ, sat123.com/JJ, and purchase a sat phone. You don't purchase a sat phone. They give it to you free with a subscription that's less than $100 a month. Less than $100 a month, your family has complete connectability. That's worth it. Absolutely worth it. sat123.com/JJ, and they have a plethora of other products that you do need to be prepared. sat123.com/JJ. Fast show. Got 45 seconds and counting. I got a great interview next week. I'm going to put on the vault. I'm going to show it on the show and then put it on the rest of it on the wall, on the vault, which is worldviewtube.com/JJ, worldviewtube.com/JJ. And what is that? Well, it falls in line with everything that I'm doing now. I don't trust anyone. I don't trust anything, and I question everything. I'm interviewing a man about the flat earth theory. I'm mesmerized by it because I question everything now. I don't know. I have to ask. I have to at least hear someone out. Trust no one. Verify everything and be ready. Be prepared to go to war because we are in a war for the soul of our nation. Believe me, that's the truth.
But with Brandon, it's always cutting edge stuff happening in the world, and it's not just from the political angle, because you can get that on other platforms, but it's always from the biblical angle. So you're dealing with a guy that loves Jesus, you're dealing with a guy that's very intelligent, you're dealing with a guy that is cutting edge conservatism, and you're dealing with a guy that wants to be biblical all at the same time. And so for that reason alone, I hope many, many people will not just lift up his ministry in prayer, but will also financially get behind it because from the angle I'm trying to describe, he really is the only game in town. And we desperately need it in these last days. Can I get an amen to that?
All right, welcome to Code Blue. It is May the 28th, 2025, here with Dr. John and Brooke. So today we have some good news that's coming out. Brooke,